Hello, my name is Jennifer, and today I will be talking about student debt and its negative impacts. Okay, so let's get started. And my name is Jennifer. Okay, so what is student debt and how is it accumulated? So student debt is when students take out loans in order to pay for college tuition because college is expensive, and this debt is accumulated if the student does not pay in time. And since there are interest rates, the amount that is owed can be doubled. So for example, if a student owns $20,000, that amount can double up to like $40,000. So in my opinion, student debt does have some negative impacts, and throughout this presentation, I will be talking about how student debt generates negative impacts in the future of the students, their well-being, and the economy. So first, I want to talk about some history. And the first student loan that was taken out was in 1958 by the National Defense Education Act. And this act was passed by President Dwight Eisenhower, and it was passed on September 2, 1958. And ever since this date, there has been many students who have been taking out student loans in order to get through college, which has some consequences to this. Okay, so who is affected by this issue? So obviously students who borrow the money are the ones who are affected, and also low-income students because they don't have the financial opportunities. Even if they are helped with FAFSA or like scholarships, that's sometimes not enough for them. And since they are low income, the only other alternative that they have is to take out money. But it also affects their future. And has some consequences to it, and it also affects the economy, and I will go more into debt later on. So how does it affect students? And it affects students in 3 different ways, and it affects the future of the students. For example, their credit scores can be low, which can it doesn't allow them to make a down payment for a house. And sometimes they can't even go on vacations, or if an individual wants to get married, their marriage has to be delayed because they don't have the money because of the debt that they own. And also it affects the students' well-being. Students can get depressed by owing so much money. And being depressed can also cause stress, and their health can be affected by this as well. And it also affects the economy because the more money that students are taking out, the more tuition goes up, which doesn't make sense, but this is the way government works. And if we don't make or we don't raise awareness of this issue, this social justice issue, tuition will keep on increasing, and students will be taking out more and more student loans, and that is not what we want. Okay, so I did a literature review, and this was a poem by Chelsea Primera, and it is called Paper Cuts, and she called it Paper Cuts because she referred paper as the knowledge she obtained from college and cuts from the debt that she owns. So Paper Cuts is the knowledge that she has turned into pain, which was debt. And this poem was published in 2018 in Hello Poetry, and this poem depicts her feelings toward the student debt that she accumulated in her college years. I used 3 methodologies for this research project, and the first one is found in the CPP library. And this is the research done by Carrie Cupers, and the article is called Are Student Loans Hurting Millennials? And this is a study done by TransUnion, and they focused on the years 2005, 2009, and 2012. And the study was done on millennials from ages 18 to 29, And they found out that in 2005, there were 5,700 consumers that took out loans. And in 2009, there were 1.5 million consumers that took out loans. And in 2012, there were 1.5 million students who took out those loans. And right now in 2019, those numbers have gone up really, really much. Okay, so methodologies continued. So the second methodology was the research also, and it is found on consumerreports.org. And this has a personal interview, and it is on a video, and the person who's being interviewed is Jessie Surin, and her current debt is $90,000. And this is a very personal interview where she states how she feels about student debt and how she advises students to not take out student loans. And her family is even brought up into this video, and you can see the despair that this family feels and how it has affected their lives in negative ways. I also did an interview on a friend of mine, and his name is Alex Martinez, and he is a current Cal Poly Pomona student, and his debt is $6,300 right now. But if he doesn't pay in time, that number can double up. So he needs to be careful and make sure that that money doesn't go higher than it is. And he stated that it is an unfortunate tool that students need to use in order to attend college. So Alex believes that it is an alternative tool, and it is. It is unfortunate that students have to go through this. No one has to go through this, Solutions need to be found. Okay, so I also did a art review, and this art review is found on marketwatch.com, and it is an artwork that was done by Joanna Venegas, and her current debt is $23,000, and she turned her feelings into art. And in the background, we see sketches of historical figures. We see Emiliano Zapata over here, and then we see other sketches in the back. And this illustrates the knowledge she obtained in college. And in the foreground, we can see that she used dollar bills to spell out "I owe too much," which means that she owes too much money. So this states that her knowledge made her owe too much money, just like the literature review I did on the poem. Okay, so some of the findings that I found out was that United States is the leading country with the highest tuitions, and Chile is the second highest, and Japan is the third highest. And this is unfortunate because students should not be going through this, and college should not be this expensive. No one deserves to pay this much money and then end up in debt, if they take out student loans. And another finding that I made was that a student loan report study, and this states that according to the student loan report, recently graduated student loan borrowers hold $27,857 in student loan debt on average. Additionally, the national student loan debt is $1.41 trillion, and there are 44,179,100 student loan borrowers in the United States, which indicates that on average, each student owns about $27,000. And if you round it, it can be like $30,000. And if you double that up, if they don't pay in time, that number can go up to $60,000. Nobody wants to owe that much money because, like I've been stating, consequences do come from these actions that students make in college. It's unfortunate because these actions that students are taking are done in such an early age. Sometimes they don't even know what they're getting themselves into. Okay, so in conclusion, everyone's dream of a higher education should be pursued, and money should not be a barrier to accomplish them. Negative impacts are seen in students taking out loans, and it does affect their future, the well-being, and the economy. And students want to make a change in society by attending college, but with student debt on their backs, this will be a goal that will be tough to accomplish. And overall, student debt does have some negative impacts to it, and solutions need to be made. And the only way we can try to do something about this issue is by raising awareness and letting everybody know that this is an issue. And if we don't do this, solutions cannot be created, and that is what we need. We need solutions, and we need to stop students from taking out student loans. And that is pretty much it. Thank you.